Okay. All right. Good.
I can't hear it.
Okay. Good. Sometimes
I
you
do
got
hear like a murmur.
from when I speak or
It sounds like a TV. But I could totally be wrong.
on the TV. I think is muted. It's on, but it's muted. I can't hear it. Usually, I can hear it in the background.
I must be imagining things.
Yeah, my TV is muted. I don't know if there's another one. I don't know if Joe has his on.
No, mine is everything's off.
Okay.
Oh my god, I'm turning into Lorenzo. Like, where's that thing? It sounds like a TV that's on channel 10 and there's static.
Did you see the pictures of Max?
I sure did.
I did. I thought it was kind of eerie him doing the like 3 minute video of Max sleeping and of I guess is that
Speeding
what's
it
his
up,
girl?
like the hyperlapse.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. But I was like, oh, that's cute. I was like, where's Lorenzo? So it's not that weird.
I mean, he posted a picture of Tanya sleeping, which I know that, like, if Sean had ever done that to me after I'd given birth, I would have slapped him. It's like, I don't want expected pictures taken of me right now.
Mhm. No woman wants that.
No.
And then posted? No. You take
No,
the
see,
picture.
that's the thing. You want to show it to people after, like,
Yeah.
on your phone, like, hey, but posting it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a whole nother animal.
All right. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's make the match happen. All right. What's up, people, and welcome once again to Helm Headquarters in a new episode of AOH at the Movies. I'm Malik, and I'm joined once again by my co-hosts, Joe
Flame on!
and Johanna.
Let's flame some Fantastic Four.
In tonight's episode, we'll review a real winner of the summer blockbuster season. That is, if measuring marketing success in movies were like golf scores, and the lowest total actually gets the championship, Fantastic Four would win the PGA, the Masters, and the U.S. Open all at once. So back in 2007, R&B singer Trey Songz released a single called "Can't Help But Wait." It's about the singer pining over a woman he can't have because she's with someone else that's not treating her right. And in listening to this song, I actually have wondered if Marvel has felt the same watching some of their products whose rights they so desperately sold to other entities in an effort to keep their own fledgling company afloat, be completely mistreated and misrepresented, all while wishing they were back together with the characters they've held so dearly. So this time around, eight 8 years removed from the monetarily successful yet critically maligned Fantastic Four, 20th Century Fox rebooted the franchise in an effort to hold on to ownership of a property that Marvel was literally salivating over. I mean, seriously, they were waiting for the statute of limitations to die on this film so that on this franchise so that they could retake back the property. But it didn't wind up happening because 20th Century Fox realized that shit, there's a money grab to be made here. So the old film star, so they trashed the old film starring the likes of Jessica Alba, Michael Chiklis, Eon Grufford, and Chris Evans before he actually found his true calling as Marvel's Captain America, and they completely revamped it with the young, promising talent of Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Kate Mara, and Jamie Bell. They redid the entire origin story from scratch, unlike Amazing Spider-Man, which just told the same story over with a few more special effects, and they re-released it to the public in the form of a brand new Fantastic Four film. I mean, I can say the marketing and hype around this movie was absolutely fantastic, but the outcome, well, that's what we're here to talk about. So before I jump into the actual full-on review, I wanted to get you guys like first impressions, what you were thinking when you first started working into this movie. Did you know anything about like the reviews or anything that was going on prior to walking in? So did you have like what was your frame of mind walking into the movie the first time? So let's start with you, Johanna.
I felt like I had gotten a vibe from you guys that it was going to suck. So I went in with a mindset of suckitude. I'm not into the Fantastic Four. Maybe it's because my first exposure to Fantastic Four was Jessica Alba, and I can't stand her because she refuses to identify as Latina. Don't say, "Oh God," okay?
So you can't stand her? Okay, so you can't stand her because of something completely separate from her acting ability.
Yes.
Just because of her personality. Okay, well look, I can get on board with that.
Yeah. So that automatically took points off any Fantastic Four movie. But as I continued to watch the film, I knew that I was not incorrect. Joe had posted on his Facebook too. He's like, I feel ripped. He wrote before he went in. He's like, I feel like I'm going to be ripped off. And then he commented once he left, and he said, I feel ripped off. So that's it did not seem like my initial impression was going to be. And you know that from the beginning too. Like the minute I started watching, I'm like, "Welp, I'll be checking my my Facebook once in a while now, because I really don't understand this, and it just makes no sense." In terms of the fact that the acting is just so, you know what? It's not the acting; it's the dialogue, the writing. Like at one point, you know, what's her face? House of Cards girl. Is like talking about being adopted, and he's like, yeah, and she's like, oh, were you adopted? And he's like, no, but I wish I'd been adopted. And I'm like, really? This is the level of dialogue that we have here. When they're finally on the stupid rock or whatever, I don't remember what the fuck. They're chasing Doctor Doom, and like the pendejo from Insurgent or Divergent like is up on the rock, and he says something like, we can stop them together. I'm like, wow. The guy from Arrested Development who plays like the Fantastic Four guy could have played that better than you. and that's supposed to be a joke.
Well, before we get too deep into the film, before we get too deep into the reviews and really get your feelings on it, it seems like you're ready to absolutely unload. I wanted to ask Joe, what was your feelings coming into the movie? Clearly, you were the first of the three of us to see it. So what were your thoughts going into the movie? Did you have any prior understanding or knowledge as to what was happening?
I knew it scored poorly on Rotten Tomatoes. I did not know the premise of the story, so I didn't read any reviews. I just knew that it scored poorly. But after seeing it, I was thinking, Mad Max, Avengers, trash next to Fantastic Four. Trash, I tell you. No, I'm joking. Fantastic Four was utter trash. There's no other way for me to say it. It was just garbage.
So
I think it's the lowest scoring Marvel movie. I was reading on one of the comic book movie review sites that it's the lowest scoring comic book movie they had in their lifetime. I mean, I thought it couldn't get any worse than Silver Surfer, but they proved me wrong.
So I'll say for myself, I was probably the last of the three of us to see it. Of course, I had heard I had read a couple of reviews. I had heard, Joe and I had talked about it yesterday when we were kind of discussing whether or not we wanted to do the review of this film, and I decided to check it out today before we started recording. So I had the full context that this film was going to be horrible, and funny enough, like I thought that the movie, I actually liked the beginning. I actually like the
Silver Linings Malik Strikes Again.
And here's the reason why. Like I said, I expected it to be so bad. I really expected it to be the worst. Like I expected it to be like Godzilla bad, which as you like Godzilla is like the worst movie on the planet in my opinion, and not the one that just came out last year. Was it last year? 2 years, whatever. I'm talking about the Matthew Broderick Godzilla that came out in 1998. That's like the bar for.
Yeah, at least that movie was funny.
For horrible, for like way hyped, overhyped, over budgeted piece of crap, dark, disgusting movie. I'm not gonna say. I'm not even gonna give too much time. But I expected this to be that, right? And I didn't I didn't get that. See, for me, and I guess this will start our review or whatever. But for me, I liked the beginning because I felt like the beginning wasn't a superhero. It felt like it wasn't a superhero movie, at least in the very beginning. The very beginning, especially with the stuff with the kids, in the very beginning, like the first, I guess 10, 15 minutes of the opening scene where Ben and Reed first meet, like that stuff with the kids, I liked that because it was just two kids it was a science experiment or whatever. Like so it felt like a sci-fi movie. It didn't feel like a superhero movie. And I don't like the issue I do have with the movie, is that there's that definite shift where the movie goes from being, an interesting sci-fi movie to or an innocent sci-fi movie to a, blockbustery, corny superhero flick it just starts to take this really, really bad turn about 30 minutes into the film, and it just never finds itself again. So that's my feeling on the film. I didn't like it, Joe, but there are pieces of the movie that I absolutely thought I was like, okay, this wasn't that bad. But then the product as a whole was horrible.
I actually I totally agree with you, Malik, in terms of the fact that at least for me, the movie was bottom heavy, and it was not a big butt that I could like and could not deny that I liked. It was, this sci-fi movie, like you said, it's all this exposition and stuff, and it's obviously that they're set up for a sequel, and then in like the last 20 fucking minutes, real shit happens.
Right.
So, and I think that that just shows what this movie didn't know what to be. Because the way it's interesting, the way you see it, it's like this science fiction movie that got fucked up with this corny shit, and then for me, it's like it was like an hour and a half of people talking and not doing anything, or an hour, and then half an hour of the action, which I agree with you was extremely corny and not very well done at all. But it's interesting the perspectives that people have on the film. And the consensus between us, which is that it was horrible.
Yeah, for me, I felt like that it was a film like I've seen. You've watched movies like this before, where it's a 2-hour film or hour and 48 minutes or whatever the runtime of this film is, and it feels like they spent so much time getting to the part where these normal people become these extraordinary, quote unquote, fantastic people, that when they finally, it's like when the director or when the studio finally looks at the print and they say, holy shit, we've only got 25 minutes left to actually do the story. and so then they put this hodgepodge of crap all together in this last 30-minute sequence, and you're here, and as a fan, you're watching it, and as a viewer, you're watching it, and you're like, "What?"
Yeah.
If you would have, to me, it's like if you would have watched the first half or the first 35 minutes of that movie, fallen asleep, and woken up 20 minutes later, you probably would not have known that you were watching the same film, because it does not even feel like the same movie about 40 minutes into that film.
And it was weird pacing too, because when they get their powers or their talents, you get 5 seconds of them training, and it's like, oh yeah, we gave them suits, they're okay now.
Yeah, I love the time jump though. It's 1 year later,
yeah.
Okay,
well, thanks.
That's supposed to suffice for Joe's montage. I think Joe, would you have preferred a montage scene where you got to watch them actually use their powers?
I was glad they skipped the year. I had a lot of problems throughout the whole movie. I didn't find any part of this movie redeeming at all. I had issues with them. I didn't have a problem with them meeting as kids. That's fine. That part I didn't care about. It was nice, but I really didn't care. What bothered me is that they're doing this in high school. They're at the high school fair now. Problem number one for me: those two, Miles Teller and Jamie Bell, do not look like high school students at all. They look much older, and they're playing high school kids. Normally that kind of stuff wouldn't bother me, but I mean, it's just like so obvious that they're not high school age, and so he's supposed to be like 17,
Yeah,
and he's Mr. Fantastic. And no,
Yeah.
I would have preferred that they would have been in college or something, and he's trying to like study or whatever. I wish it was taken from that perspective, where he's in college and he's like becoming PhD, whatever, in whatever science that he's studying. Another problem I had, Ben Grimm is supposed to be a big guy already, right? I mean,
Right.
Miles Teller, when they showed them standing next to each other, he like towered over Jamie Bell. Like, he's like much taller than him. And Ben Grimm is supposed to be like the football player, the big guy. He's supposed to be like Reed's like bodyguard of sorts. He's the tough guy. Reed's the smart guy, and they made him tough, but physically he's smaller than Reed Richards. That kind of bothered me. And Malik, we're good friends and everything. If you call me at 2:00 in the morning and ask me to go to another dimension, I'm gonna say, nah, I'm gonna pass. Why don't you go? You come back. You tell me all about it. I'm not getting in the car and going down to Manhattan so you can send me to another dimension.
Yeah,
That's not happening.
The dynamics of their friendship never gets established. And honestly, this has been a problem for me actually for all of the movies. Like the dynamics of the friendship between Reed and Ben doesn't really get established even in the first films. And they do a mildly better job of doing it in this film when they introduce them as kids, because I mean at the very least you can see the innocence of the friendship building in the beginning, but by the time like that, I hate those like time jumps where they go from we're 10 and to now we're 17 and I'm supposed to just expect that like all of these changes and all of these things that have happened for these two guys is just like there is no mention about like Ben being like a sports, like because Ben was really into sports.
Yeah, but he doesn't
like,
look
really,
it either. You know what I
right.
mean? He doesn't.
I mean, he's really shrimpy, and like you said, he looks tiny compared to whatever the fuck his name is. I
Miles
fucking hated
Teller.
him. I hated him.
Yeah, I don't have the venom you have for Miles Teller. I mean, I didn't like the movie. It's nothing personal against Miles, though.
No,
You seem
this
like you
isn't
have something
personal. No. It's not. You know what it is? I don't feel like he was the right person to play that role, and that role was. I mean, he was. I'm not sure he could carry that film as a lead, and I don't think that character could carry that film as a lead. Like he just was whiny and weird and lame, and it's the whole time I'm like, why should I pay attention to you? Oh, now you're Stretch Armstrong, so I gotta pay attention to you. But you're brooding, and now you've grown like scruff. You can't even grow a beard. You're growing like the scruff of maturity and sadness. And I'm supposed to, take you seriously and think you're kind of hot now. Which I can see that, but I don't.
Oh, you mean from Susan Storm's point of view, being hot?
I guess. You know who was hot? The guy who turns into Doctor Doom. He's good looking.
Oh, don't even get me started on the Doctor Doom beat. That was just ridiculous.
I could do a whole 20 minutes on that guy.
It was ridiculous. I mean, when they intro the character, I like being alone. That's what I do. Yeah, I'm like, all right, clearly you're Doctor Doom, or you're going to be Doctor Doom, and they make like a joke. Ooh, he's Doctor Doom. I was like, oh my God, please stop. It was just bad. First of all, I want to know how the hell he survived over there for a year. Clearly, he's not eating. Nobody's cooking. So he's just made up of energy, and
transformed into like this energy ball.
Yeah, he's just an energy guy, and I mean the training sequences with Johnny Storm, them not sending him out into combat because he's still training, but the thing he's out there like messing up countries and stuff. I'm like, okay, whatever. And the part in the trailer that I didn't see, maybe because I did fall asleep for like 5 minutes. Honestly, I did. I fell asleep. I didn't see the scene in the trailer where he falls from the helicopter.
No, that wasn't in the movie
Okay,
at
it's
all.
like I didn't see that. It wasn't even in the movie. I knew I blanked out for like 5 minutes, so I said maybe it was in there. Um,
No, it was not
so
in the movie. It wasn't in the film at all.
yeah, I mean, it was just. I mean, the movie's just bad, top to bottom. It's just come on. Oh, we're gonna be the first ones to go over there. We're gonna plant our flag, and we're gonna go. Nobody ever talks about the guy who built the spaceship, but they talk about Neil Armstrong. We gotta go. I'm like, come on,
That's what I'm
come
talking about.
on.
That the dialogue was so corny.
I mean, it's not even that. It's just
And the
I could
delivery.
yeah, dialogue could be corny. The first Star Wars movie had very corny dialogue. I mean, but nobody cares because it was just fun. This was not fun at all. It was just it was hard to get through, and I'm watching this, and then when they finally, because it took them forever to like you said earlier, Malik, it took them forever to get to the point where they were going to become a team.
Hmm.
The first battle, usually in a superhero movie, you have at least 2 or 3 battles with the villain, right? The first battle you usually lose, and another one's like a tie, and then the third one you finally beat him or something like that. There was one battle in the whole movie, and that was it. And it was so corny, like you said, Yana. It's like he's like he's strong. He's stronger than all of us. He's not stronger than all of us together.
That's what I mean. That's the line where they're standing on the fucking
when they're
rock,
standing on the
and
rock, and I'm like,
he sounds like he's in a school play.
yeah. Now he's not stronger than all of us together. I was like, dude, he's stronger than all of 4 of you put together,
Yeah.
and all the Avengers put together. I mean, they made him so strong. I was like, come on, you stretch. There's nothing special. And he managed like to dodge all the bolts and get. I was like, oh, please give me a break. And the big problem I have is that they use Doctor Doom again. It's like we had him in the very first Fantastic Four and in the second one. I mean, they've got a million other villains to choose from. Why does it have to be Doctor Doom again?
Well, I mean, I think that Doom is. I mean, Doom is important to the story to the team, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's a big enough villain. They could have introduced him in the second movie. What bothers me is that they keep integrating him with Reed Richards,
right.
and like they were buddies or like they worked together. I mean, they did the same thing in the first iteration of Fantastic Four. They did it again. I mean, they're two separate people that meet on the battlefield, not because they had similar interests and they met working someplace or something like that.
Well, in different tellings of their origin story, they have prior to these films coming out, the different terries like the ultimate in the Ultimate Fantastic Four universe, they did write them as scientists, as both scientists that worked for the same company. Obviously one was they were parallels of each other, similar to Professor X and Magneto. Like being parallels of each other, both being scientists, both working for the same thing. I personally, I don't think it's necessary. I think that you could very easily introduce a Doctor Doom character as just the same way that you introduce like a character like Thanos in the Avengers film. He's just this badass dude that's that does his own thing, that does his own shit, and has like world domination on his mind, and has been this way forever. And we don't really need an origin story for the villain. We don't have an origin story for Thanos. We don't have an origin story for a lot of these villains. The best villains, we don't really know where they come from. They just kind of appear. They just are what they are, and they're bad guys, and they do this. They do the shit. So I know we can go like on and on about how corny this movie was. If there's one thing that you could pinpoint that are there any positives that you can find out of this movie? Anything, either one person's acting or the special effects. Is there anything in this film that you can kind of point to? Because I have one. I have two, but the second one is really really flimsy. So I have two for myself. Is there anything that you can?
You have 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5.
I mean, if I had to say anything, I mean, probably I like Michael B. Jordan. I like the Human Torch. I mean,
Hmm.
it's you know, I don't like the way he turned the power on and off because it didn't seem like every time he wanted to turn, he would like flick a switch on his suit
Yeah, it
and it
wasn't
would
it
turn
wasn't
off.
innate.
I was like,
Yeah.
that part I didn't like, but I mean, overall, I mean, he was okay, and Kate Mara was all right. I mean, it's showing the invisible shield and all that stuff. It was okay. I mean, the thing looked cool. He looked better than the Michael Chiklis version of the thing.
Yeah.
It looked more like the thing that from the comic books. Yeah. Other than that, no, nothing, nothing else. I can't. There's no one part of the story that I thought was like okay. It just thought it was all bad.
What about you, Johanna? Any positives that you could take away from the film? I think it's fair. We owe it to people to at least find one good thing that we can comment about the movie.
I actually liked Michael P. Jordan too. I thought he was cool. I like the fact that, like, because everyone was like, but Sue Storm and Johnny Storm are brother and sister, so he can't be black. And it's like, oh, he's adopted or she's adopted, so that's cool.
Hmm.
Um, so I liked him. I also like Daddy Storm, who also plays the barbecue guy on House of Cards. Um, yeah, I guess I'm picking the people of color in the film, of which there are two, to be the highlight of the movie.
Well, that's fine. I mean, look, so one of the things that I liked, one of the things that one of my pieces was to Joe's point. I thought that the special effects on the thing, I actually preferred the special effects on the thing this time over the Michael Chiklis thing, because I think that in the other films they kind of really tried to focus on the fact that this guy still looks like Michael Chiklis. He just looks like a big ass rock version of him. Whereas right now this character that we're seeing that we saw in this film is just a bunch of big ass rocks. There is no Jamie Bell anywhere near this character any longer. Even the voice is completely different. Doesn't even seem like he like to me. I think Jamie Bell just like mailed it in after that. He was like, all right, well, I'm literally going to be only me. I'm only Ben Grimm for like the first 35 minutes of this movie, and then I'm this big ass hunk of rock. Cool, no problem. I'm just gonna I'm gonna take a break, and I'm not coming into work. Um, but other than that, I mean, and it's funny enough because I didn't like Michael B. Jordan at all. Not because of him. I think he's a perfectly good actor. I think he's wasted in this movie. I mean, I think he's really wasted as his talents and his abilities, especially when you compare, the amount of both screen time and and the relationship building that Chris Evans and Michael Chiklis did in their film. Like the all of the relationship between not Silver Surfer, Human Torch and the Thing in the first two movies was the highlight of the entire Fantastic Four, and it was completely muted in this movie. Like it was one of those things where it was like, really, this is one of the best pieces. This is one of the most highly easiest leveraged things that you can do. You can absolutely, you know, feed into the whole, comical big brother little brother relationship that Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm have. And I grit it in this movie. They're introduced as pretty much strangers to one another, but you know they don't establish any of the relationships between any of the characters the way that it should be done. um, and that really, really burned me. That really pissed me off. But if there was, but the flimsy thing that I did like was Kate Mara's shields, her force field shields. Like I thought those were cool every time she did it, and the fact that she used it as a force field to get them to fly. Because uh, if you guys remember correctly from the first films, every time Jessica Alba tried to use her powers, her nose bled and she damn near passed out, right? So it was like good to see that Kate Mara, after a year of training, Kate Mara was actually able to control it enough to do a couple of cool ass things. Invisible Woman is actually probably one of, if not the strongest female characters in the entire Marvel universe. And she really gets shitted on by Jessica Alba's, rendition of her in those films because she's really weak and she's really incapable of taking her powers to the max. I thought Kate Mara in this got the opportunity to really play with her role and really play with the role of Invisible Woman. So I did like those two things. But going back into what we didn't like, the dialogue was horrible. The dialogue was so bad, and the father was like, I didn't believe that he was Michael B. Jordan's father. I didn't believe anybody knew anybody in this movie. Like, I didn't believe anything about anything.
That's true.
People were like strangers to one another who just ended up working at the same job. Like,
it's like the Real World Marvel edition.
It was. I mean, like you were looking for a relationship between Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm, and it wasn't there because they didn't know each other. At least when we started the other Fantastic Four movies, at least in the first one, they were already a team. They were already working together. And this one, they were assembling the team, and I'm thinking that Johnny Storm is probably the oldest one there, right?
Yeah, at this,
in this version, it seems like he's the older one, because
definitely older than Kate.
He's supposed to be like 18, right?
Yeah.
Ben Grimm and Reed Richards are like 18, and I'm guessing Kate Mara is somewhere in that ballpark. I don't know, but
although they all look 25, so
yeah, they're well over 20. That's why I would have preferred the college thing, but yeah, there's nothing outside of what I named before. There's nothing redeeming about this movie at all. Green Hornet was better than this.
Oh, no, I don't know. I can't say that because there's
I can say it. At least that was funny. At least that was funny. And
there's nothing about Green Hornet that, I mean, I probably won't ever watch Fantastic Four again, and that much I can definitely agree with about Green Hornet. I've never seen Green Hornet after the first time I watched it, but if gun to my head, I had to pick one of the two, I wouldn't watch Green Hornet again. I would watch Fantastic Four again if I had to. Yeah. But also, I mean, so I can already see, despite the fact that they've already that they only gained, I think it was 26 million in the first weekend, which is a new low for Marvel films, and clearly this was a cash grab for Fox Studios, just because the first two Fantastic Fours did extremely well in the box office. So you could clearly see that, Fox was just, pulling at straws and trying to fit this thing together. I mean, this movie was panned by the director of the film the day before it released. Josh Trank actually went on, he actually went on social media and said, and like started blaming the studio for like taking over the film and pretty much like just destroying whatever his feelings were or whatever his ideas were about the movie halfway into the film, and just completely destroying it. So you gotta also look at that. I mean, when your own director is killing your movie before the shit even comes out,
seriously,
like, that's a problem.
Well, I think that was because it was already had been reviewed and it was getting hammered. It was getting hammered, by the critics.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's like, hey, man, I directed this movie, but the studio hijacked it, and I had to do pretty much what they told me to do. And so he's given his excuses, right? Because I believe everybody. I mean, it was already building up before Friday that this movie was gonna suck. Before Josh Trank said anything, I mean, the consensus was that this movie was gonna be horrible, and it was correct.
Yeah, it's not a case where people underestimated it. It was just as bad as we said like months ago.
Yeah, 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, wow.
Oh, that's what my husband told me before we went. He's like, by the way, this is 9%. I hope you know that. And I'm like, I gotta watch it for the show.
I mean,
and then
it was down as far as 6, what I saw.
I mean, it got beaten out by Mission Impossible in its second week. So, Tom Cruise rules again. Tom Cruise beats the Fantastic Four.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I bet the acting and the dialogue in MI5 is better than.
Oh, by far.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
MI5
100 times better.
MI5 is a good movie.
This is Tom Cruise we're talking about. Okay.
Like MI5.
Remember,
MI5 is a good movie. Like
remember, I've never seen one, so.
Despite having not seen any of the first four, I would have still told you to see MI5 before seeing Fantastic Four. Even though you have no frame of reference for any of the stuff that happened in any of the lead up to some of the things that get talked about in MI5, and you have no frame of reference for all of the little tidbits of cool stuff that gets talked about, like that's kind of references the old films. It doesn't matter. You would have still enjoyed yourself a hell of a lot more than you would have enjoyed yourself watching this movie.
Yes, that's for sure.
It was not. It was like, I know, Joe, you said it was so bad that it was entertaining. I just couldn't.
Joke. That was a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke. I mean, this Fantastic Four is no Sharknado, okay? There's no Sharknado. If you got to choose between Fantastic Four and Sharknado 1 to 3, watch Sharknado. Sharknado is hilarious. It's fun. It's a great time, and it's stupid as hell, but it's fun. The Fantastic Four is stupid and it's not fun in any way. So Sharknado, 2 thumbs up. Fantastic Four, 4 thumbs down. That's 2 thumbs and 2 big toes down.
Mine are all down. Down. It made my ears bleed. It made my nose bleed, like apparently Jessica Alba's did in the original. And it filled me with hate. It filled me with hate.
I mean, like, I'm actually happy that nothing happened to the little monkey. I did think the monkey was cute. I was sitting there like, does it mean something that I actually give a shit about whether this monkey makes it back alive? When they were doing the first
yeah.
I was like, I actually care. I actually want to make sure that monkey's okay. I was like, maybe it's because I've been watching Planet of the Apes, and I actually have some feelings about monkeys and apes and all that stuff now. I don't know. I was really thinking about that when it happened. I was like, maybe something's wrong with me because of this. But yeah, this movie didn't do anything. It didn't do anything to warrant the sequel that it's clearly going to get, because Fox is not letting that shit go. It's gonna get another sequel, and they're probably gonna I don't know if they're gonna recast, but they're probably gonna have these people, these 4 again in another film and redirect it, get a new director and get a new showrunner and get a new producer and see if they can get Magic in a Bottle again and just make a shit ton of money over.
But they didn't make a lot of money. That's the thing. I mean,
right? They didn't make a lot this time, but that's what I'm saying. They're obviously going to try to recoup their losses, right? At some point.
And I'm really surprised it didn't do better, because usually people don't give a shit what the reviews are. They just want to go see the Fantastic Four, and that just didn't happen. I mean, I guess it just people were drinking the Kool-Aid on like a week, 2 weeks beforehand. All these reviews start coming out, and I guess people were believing it.
Well, I think that's what happened. I mean, like you see reviews of crappy movies all the time, and movies get destroyed. And then, like I said, when the director comes out, and when every review is bad, and the director comes out, and the director himself says, "This movie was literally taken away from me. The creative control for this film was completely destroyed. This is not what I wanted to do, and whatever you guys feel about it, it's not my fault." Like, he literally destroyed whatever marketability that movie could have possibly had.
Yeah.
By panning it himself, That's just not the way to go. I'm sure the studio is probably gonna try to sue him over that shit, because I know I would. Mm-hmm. I know I would absolutely do that, because the director, the actors, like, where's the marketing tour? You know what I mean? Like, I'm watching right now, going on in the background while we're recording this show. Conan O'Brien is on in the background, and he's interviewing Ice Cube for the Straight Outta Compton movie that's coming out this Friday. where was the Michael B. Jordan, Kate Mara, and Conan O'Brien talking about, like, that shit didn't even happen leading up to this movie, or at
Well,
least I
'cause,
missed it.
I think
You
they
know,
knew they didn't want to spend any more money than they had to.
right? That's what I'm saying. Like, this is part of the reason why, even though it's a really really bad movie, no one went to watch it, because I thought the marketing for it was like there was billboards everywhere for months, and then over the last week to week and a half, like you said, Joe, as these reviews started coming out, people just stopped paying attention to this movie. And then the director comes out and pans it, and of course that's it. I think if there had been even one or two notable, reliable reviews that came out positive for this film, then it would have probably done better.
I mean, you're talking about Straight Outta Compton. It has like a 92% right now. So, I mean, it's obviously supposed to be pretty good. So yeah, why not push it and get people to see it? Fantastic Four, not good. Why even waste the money in marketing by sending these guys to
I mean,
to push the movie on all the talk shows?
because you spent a bunch of money on it, you know.
Well, but the thing is, though, that the people who are gonna at this one, the people who are gonna watch it, who are gonna watch it anyway, are probably gonna go watch it. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, everyone else like thinks it sucks or knows it sucks. So, if you're just focusing on those, you've kind of just given up, right? On ever capturing the hearts and minds of those people, because I don't think any amount of like Rooney Mara, Kate Mara, and dumbass Divergent guy like going on talk shows is going to save it for those people who aren't going to watch it. But there are people who are into Marvel who are going to watch it. Were there supposed to be like crossovers and stuff? Because I know all the other films have like crossovers or have references to other Marvel folks, and that didn't happen in this film either.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't think
It's not.
the intentions in doing that. I mean, like the last the Spider-Man stuff didn't really do it either. Whenever these movies are like these products that are owned by other entities, like X-Men really never led it would lead to other X-Men films. Like it would show like stuff that leads to other X-Men films, but it wouldn't talk about anything that was going to happen in the Marvel universe with like Avengers or Captain America, anything like that.
Huh. Well, my 4-year-old would like to see Iron Man and Spider-Man fight together. So that's what she told me.
She will. Captain America 3. She will.
Oh, yeah? All right.
That's going to happen soon enough.
Yeah, the teams have been chosen.
But yeah, I would definitely like to see, I personally, and this is what I'm saying, I want to see the Blu-ray of this film, because I want to see the making of. I want to see what people were saying about this film when it was being done. Like, because to me, it can't. At some point, I've always said this, and I've always believed this. At some point in time, when you're making something, if you're like Johanna, you bake, and like if you're getting ready to make something, and like you taste it, and it does not taste good for whatever reason, like before you're getting ready to serve this damn thing, that this is not good, right? So
yeah, I mean,
maybe you won't serve it, or maybe you'll deliver a disclaimer before you actually serve it or something like that. Like, it's not the best cake that I would have made or whatever, just to kind of prep everybody for it.
I mean, like, I also, because I mean, my first thought would be to like go back and make another cake, but I guess I'm not making $1 million cake, so it's different. Like,
y'all gonna eat this fucking cake. It costs me $1 million. Y'all gonna eat this cake. I'm just how nasty it is.
Yeah, exactly. Like, here, this is made of gold leaf, and you're gonna eat the fuck up.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's got to be somebody else that knew, outside of Josh Trank, after his movie got taken from him, that knew, like, literally, this movie's gonna suck. and we need to get out as fast as we possibly can and maybe scrap it before it even gets to press. But there's some point where they made too much money on this film. They spent too much money on this film, and they were just like, all right, just let it go and figure it out from there. Oh man, so Joe, for you, does this go in your list of top 5 worst movies that you've ever seen? Where does this kind of stand for you in terms
I
of?
don't know. I never think of my top worst movies that I've ever seen. Just try to forget those. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I've seen. There's been worse. Um, yeah, but right now, yeah, it's probably the worst thing I've ever seen. But uh, at this moment, like, if I haven't really thought about it, but I'm sure there's a worse movie than Fantastic Four out there that I haven't seen. That's a Hollywood budget film. I'm not talking like B movie or anything like that. So yeah, I don't know. The only movie that really comes to mind that I hated when I was a kid probably was Q. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. It was about a dinosaur.
No.
Wreaking havoc in New York. It came out like early '80s. I remember hating the movie. Like right now, I couldn't tell you why because I only watched it that one time. But I hated it, and I hate this movie. I hate Fantastic Four. So
Yeah, I
that's that.
definitely would not suggest anyone go out and spend their money or time seeing that movie unless you want to have a shitload of stuff to talk about and be mad about when you're on your way home.
I mean, if you need to distract yourself from the loneliness and oblivion that is your life, and you need to feel something inside again, and for some reason love and all that other stuff isn't available, by all means, go see this film. It will fill you with
Go
anger
see
and
Ant-Man.
hate.
Ant-Man's still in the theaters. Go see that.
So I say, you know what? Skip Fantastic Four. I think that's pretty much our review here. Before we cut out, we say skip Fantastic Four. Go see Ant Man. Go see MI5 for a second time or a first time if you're Johanna. Go see anything else that's out right now that's still available in your theaters. Do not waste your time watching Fantastic Four. As a matter of fact, that siren in the background is what you're hearing because you're hearing that because somebody else just went to see that movie and fucking died. Okay? Seriously.
From boredom.
From boredom and just depression from having seen this movie again. Look,
Bad movie-itis.
I can't. I was hoping that this was gonna be better than everybody said, but I really can't. I really can't say anything good about it. So, any last words, guys, before we cut out?
No.
It doesn't have to be about this movie. It could be about anything, like anything that you're.
Real quick, they announced that they're making the new Baywatch movie. The Rock and
right.
Zac Efron. I guess it's coming out next summer. I don't know why we need a Baywatch movie.
Because
I'm like, I don't really care about having a Baywatch movie.
women.
Maybe if it was
women
Baywatch
like,
Night. Maybe it was Baywatch Night.
yeah.
But because lifeguards are detectives at night.
Oh my goodness.
Gotta
Get
have-
out of town.
They gotta have something to do when the pool. When
They
the
gotta have
beach
something to
closes.
do. Clearly, you've never watched Baywatch Nights.
I've never seen Baywatch, so
Oh my God, you never saw Baywatch?
I never saw Baywatch.
There was a spin-off called Baywatch Nights where David Hasselhoff and I forgot the other guy. He's been in so many things. He helped out as like a detective after hours, solve crimes.
That's amazing.
Really? You're saving people on the beach during the day, and then you're solving crimes at night. I mean, busy lifeguard. Busy lifeguard.
He doesn't sleep. He doesn't have to. He's David
Doesn't
Hasselhoff.
sleep. Yeah, he doesn't sleep.
He just snorts a
So
lot
The Rock,
of coke.
yeah. So The Rock is gonna play like a straight-laced lifeguard, and Zac Efron's gonna be the party guy. I just think they should have as one of the female lifeguards. I think it would be pretty cool if Melissa McCarthy was a female lifeguard. I think it would be hilarious, and she could be like the best lifeguard out there. Be good.
I would be here for that. I saw her in I Spy recently, and I loved her. Oh my gosh, that movie was great. So funny.
So, an I Spy?
Yeah.
It's just Spy.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I Spy is with Bill Cosby, the old TV show, and or Eddie Murphy movie with Owen
Okay.
Wilson.
It's Spy. But it was very good, whatever its name is.
That's what I'm saying. You have Melissa McCarthy as a spy. I think she would be pretty hilarious as the lifeguard, and actually being really good at being a lifeguard. But it would just be, I think she would make it like really funny.
Is she supposed to possibly be in it, or?
No. I just said it would be pretty cool if she was in it. And you could throw Zoe Saldana in there too. I'd be happy if she was in it. But
I mean, yeah, if they go straight comedy with it, the way that they did with 21 Jump Street, I think that it could be successful. I think it could be good. I mean, look, I still say to this day, The Rock had probably one of his greatest performances ever, and I still watch this movie to this day. Is his performance in Pain and Gain?
Be Cool.
No,
in Pain and Gain. Okay.
In Pain and Gain. Oh, in Be Cool he was great too. But in Pain and Gain, his character in Pain and Gain was absolutely off the wall hilarious. And even though he's probably he's gonna play a straight-laced character, whenever he gets an opportunity to do a little comedy, I actually really like it. So
he was great in Pain and Gain. It's just I mean, I'm just hoping it's not another San Andreas. That's all.
Yeah, I didn't see that for good reason.
Don't see it. Don't bother. Don't bother. Wait till it comes on Fox or FX or something like that.
San Andreas Fantastic Four, Joe. Real quick, before we cut out.
Oh, San Andreas. Definitely San Andreas. There's no competition. I'd watch San Andreas 10 more times before I watch Fantastic Four.
So
at least they had really cool special effects in San Andreas, but yeah, the Fantastic Four had nothing.
So there's literally no redeeming factor in Fantastic Four.
None at all.
It's an hour. The only redeeming value it had was that it was an hour and a half long.
That is true.
Yes, it was an hour and a half. That's a very good point. It was only 90 minutes. I mean, total with credits and everything was an hour 40. So when I was in the theater watching, I was like, is there an after credit scene? Because everybody was like hanging out in the theater, right? Because we've gotten so accustomed to that with these Marvel movies, even if they're produced by Fox or Sony or something like that. We've grown so accustomed to the after credit scene. So I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like sitting here. Let me just double check. So I looked it up on my phone. After credit scene, Fantastic Four. It said no. I said, all right, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Everybody's still, a lot of people still sitting. I mean, granted, I went at like 11 o'clock in the morning. There wasn't like a ton of people there, but the people that I did watch it, the majority of them stayed to see if there was an after credit scene. I was like, this piece of junk. Why would you even care if there was an after credit scene?
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
I'm sorry, and that last part, I'm sorry. I just need to address that last part where they're like trying to come up with the name and it's this excruciating 6 minutes.
Oh God.
And then he's like, we'll name it Black Screen, the Fantastic Four, and I'm like, please shoot me now.
Well, was it Ben said something? Ben said something.
Yeah, Ben. Yeah, he said, Ben, say that again?
That's
it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, he said, this place
is
fantastic. Say that again? Fantastic. Blank screen.
I mean, I laughed so hard at that, and I was like, is it supposed to be that corny? I had to think through it, but I figured, look, if corny is what they were going for, they did the job really well.
I
wouldn't have minded that, because doing those scenes where you come up with the name, that's pretty hard. It's hard to come up with the name and then not be corny. It has to be like, you have to have the newspaper guy in there, that calls them the Fantastic Four or Spider-Man. They come up with the creative name. Anytime they try to come up with it by themselves, as a group, it always seems corny.
Or like someone has to take fucking charge of that shit. And, like, the Human Torch comes out, and he's like, we're the Fantastic Four. And they're like, what the fuck? And he's like, that's what we are now, damn it.
Or, I mean, well, Johnny did try to call them the Human Torch and the Torchettes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which was a piece of crap. Just, you know, it's just horrible stuff. Well, look, we won't dwell on it we won't dwell on it any longer. Don't go see Fantastic Four. Don't bother. Don't save your money. It'll come on cable in about 6 months, and then you can get drunk and watch it. and maybe it's more enjoyable in the comfort of your own home, getting completely alcoholed up and finding some kind of a beer game to use when you watch this film. So next week some of us might be checking out Straight Outta Compton and giving a review about that. I know I will be seeing that movie. I don't know if you guys will.
I will.
We'll be providing
I want to.
We'll possibly be providing a nice review for you guys for that as well. So for Johanna and Joe, I am Malik. We are the Agents of Helm. Have a great night. Check us out on iTunes for all of our other episodes, and we'll have some more releasing for you relatively soon. Have a great night. Peace out.
Later.
Together we can fight them. Fantastic. Black screen.
Flame out.
Did he say flame out? I heard him say flame on.